Aloha there, YouTubers and plant lovers. It's Justin coming to you from the Big Blue Nation once again, and today I was going to discuss Cymbidium orchids. As far as orchids go, I would have to say that this is probably my second favorite orchid after the Vanda. These orchids get rather large, so you need to be careful for that. Make sure that wherever you place them, they're going to have plenty of room to spread out. They have huge cascades of racemes or flower stalks that just kind of shoot off and make the plant take up a lot more room. These are originally from kind of the subtropical areas in Asia, around northern Japan, northern India, and they're oftentimes found at high elevations. So these plants like it kind of cool, kind of cold weather is a little bit more ideal for them. In fact, that's when they actually do most of their blooming, is in the winter time. And a reason why this plant has been a very popular plant is because they do really well in colder areas. Places like where I live in Kentucky, it does get pretty cold pretty quickly. And I can leave my Cymbidium out overnight. They can survive in temperatures of about 32 degrees Fahrenheit. They can even get as low as about 28 if you do it for just a day or two. You don't want to leave them outside in really cold weather for a long extended period of time, but if it's just for about a week or so, you'd be fine to leave it out there. Now the Cymbidiums get their name, they're called a boat orchid, and I believe it is from either Latin or Greece, the word Cymba, and that means boat. And actually, these are one of the oldest cultivated plants and species of orchids, is the Cymbidium orchid. In fact, they were actually cultivated about 2,500 years ago around Confucius's time, and Confucius actually said that the ancient Chinese Cymbidium was actually the king of fragrant flowers. So they do have a really good smell to their flowers, most all of them, so that's another reason that they've always been so popular. And in England, they were really popular around the Victorian times. These plants are fairly easy to take care of. They don't require as much moisture and humidity as a Vanda does, so you could get away with giving it about maybe 50 to 60% humidity, unlike the Vanda that needs about 80%. Light, you're going to need dappled light, because anything too hot and too direct will scorch the leaves, but anything a little bit lower than ideal is going to strongly discourage flowering. So if you're not giving it enough light, it will not flower. Water, oh man, that's a little bit of a hard one, especially it depends on where you've got it in your home and what kind of pot you got it in. If you have it in a plastic pot, water's not really going to be able to drain out of that too well, so you have to take that into consideration. And me, I have this one in a terracotta pot, so it's pretty porous, and really hot days, water will evaporate from that really quick. And you have to be careful when you water your Cymbidium, because they can get crown rot relatively easily. You have to check around here and make sure that you don't shower it down from above. Every time I water mine, I just reach down here around the roots and pour a little bit of water down in there just to saturate the roots. And do not get it on top of your plant, because it will cause crown rot. Now, the temperatures, as I was saying, you do want to have a little bit of humidity, but not a lot, because a lot can give you root rot and crown rot. Other than that, the only other thing you have to worry about is pests. And these can get anything from aphids to scale. Spider mites would be a terrible thing for this plant to have. And anything that kind of just happens to any other house plant. These aren't anything too special, especially to pests, so they will attack it fairly easily. So keep a close eye on that, and you will get root rot if you're not careful with your water. Now, as far as soil saturation, you definitely want to have bark chips. And I don't know if I mentioned that in my Vanda video, but Vandas like soil bark chips as well. These plants are epiphytic out in nature in their normal environment, so they will grow in trees. And they kind of need a loose medium around their roots. Now, as I was telling you, about a week, maybe a week and a half ago, I got my orchids off of eBay. This is the newest one. This is my newest Cymbidium, and it's doing rather well. You can tell that the leaves are kind of a lighter apple green, which is pretty much ideal for where they want to be. Other than that, this plant is doing pretty well. I'm excited about it, And so this is just a smaller one, and this one over here is probably about a half a foot, maybe somewhere around that. Close to a foot, but these plants can actually get to almost 2 feet tall if you include their raceme, so they do get pretty large as well. Now, when taking care of this plant indoors, you want to make sure the plant has at least anywhere from 4 to 6 hours of direct sunlight. You want to make sure that the temperature is going to be rather on the cool side, maybe anywhere from about 50 degrees on up. In fact, about 70 to 75, the plant will stop flowering. So if you're wanting a good raceme of flowers, make sure it's not too hot out. Water this plant when it is hot out at least once a week. You can still look at the roots and make sure that they don't need any more water. If they're kind of dark, kind of brown almost, they probably do need a little bit of water. If you see a lot of green on the roots, that's a good indication that they do already have enough water. And also make sure that it's got pretty aerated bark, like pine bark or any kind of Miracle-Gro orchid mix will really help the plant out. And make sure that whatever pot you do put it in, it does have a drainage hole so that water will be able to drain. Well guys, that about sums up what I have to say about Cymbidium orchids. Be sure to leave a comment below letting me know if you've had any kind of success or failures with this plant. And be sure to hit the like button. Also, hit the subscribe button so that you know anytime I've uploaded a new video. Well guys, thanks for watching. Take it easy YouTube, and don't forget, plant prudently.